Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are getting into our monthly reset. I'm going to treat this as a March mid-month reset. In this video, I will be reviewing my February goals. I will also be reviewing my February budget, and then we will be talking about March. I also want to mention that I've used this mic in some of my previous videos and I have not been using it the correct way at all whatsoever. So my brother was actually in town from Texas a couple of days ago and he is very tech savvy and finally fixed the settings. So I hope I haven't moved anything and I hope that the mic will sound all right in this video. So let's just get right into it. I have a whole bunch of things in front of me. I have my laptop, I have my iPad, I have a printout of my annual goals that I set at the start of the new year, and we are going to look at all of it and do a little bit of review. So let's kick it off with a review on February. Let's talk about my goals first and foremost. The goals that I had set was to really focus on specific habits that would get me closer to my goals. So the first habit that I had set for myself was to listen to daily devotionals. And what this is looking like for me is listening to the podcast Bible in a Year. And I tried to listen to one episode each day. I didn't do very well. There were several days in which I did not accomplish this. I do have a weekly planner, and on this weekly planner, I do have a section in which I track my habits, this being one of them. So I was able to go review the entire month and see that there were several weeks in which I went multiple days without listening to a daily devotional. Some reflection points on this. The reason that this is so hard for me to achieve is because I do work from home and I'm also taking care of my newborn. So my mornings are just so chaotic. Like, already so many things happening, and my baby's schedule isn't always very consistent. Like, it will fluctuate from day to day sometimes. So it's really hard for me to be playing something in the background because either I'm working, and if I'm working, I'm not going to be giving my full attention to the podcast episode, or either I'm trying to put my baby to bed. So obviously I can't be playing that in the background because then she's going to be alert and she won't go to sleep. So I think I just really need to be intentional about fitting it into my morning and maybe putting on a earbud, like a headphone, and listening to it like that when I'm putting her to sleep. So just really practical steps to actually getting this done. I'm going to try to do that. I will report back to see how I do for the month of March. The next goal that I had was a fitness goal. I really wanted to work out at least 3 times per week, and let me say that February was not good at all. Like, this goal was definitely not achieved. There were so many days back to back in which I did not work out, so that's not good. Let's try to talk about what happened. So first of all, morning workouts are just not an option for me right now. The thing is that I'm currently breastfeeding, and I don't know what you know about breastfeeding. I only found out what breastfeeding entails once I had a baby. Essentially, if you want to keep your supply up, you need to be breastfeeding every 2 to 3 to 4 hours. So from 2 to 4 hours, I need to breastfeed or I need to pump. And that includes the night as well. Overnight, you can go a couple of hours more without pumping, but when I did that, my supply dropped significantly, so we're not doing that again. Therefore, I just have such bad sleep patterns right now that in the morning, I need to sleep. Like, I need to get all the sleep that I can. So working out in the morning, as of now, like in this season that we are in with our baby, that's just not an option for me. So that's eliminated. However, evenings have not been very possible as of late either. So there's that element of me just being tired after a long day of working from home and also tending to my child. It's like juggling 2 big things at the same time. Another thing is, I was still pushing through the barrier of being tired, but then we encountered the obstacle of separation anxiety. Like, my daughter just was not trying to be away from me in the evenings. I need to be in close proximity to her, otherwise she will cry frantically. Like, she will not be okay, and it just hurts my heart to hear her cry like that. So there were times when I would go work out, my husband would stay with her, and we have a home gym, so I don't even go far, okay? It's like literally in the garage. When I would come back in, my husband would tell me she was crying like crazy. And there were times where like my whole workout, she would cry like the whole duration of it, 30-40 minutes. I wasn't even working out for that long. So quickly, evening workouts just became a thing that was not in the picture either. One option which we considered was to take her outside and she can just watch me work out. Like my husband can hold her while she watches me work out, but it's just too cold. Like it's been raining so much and we just didn't want her to get sick. It just was not ideal. That's usually the time that she had to be sleeping anyway. So she was really fussy, really overtired. As a mom, it just hurt me so much to hear her cry like that. And I was like, I can't, like, this is just a season of my life. So I think I just needed to stop putting that pressure on myself. That is my rant. That's just like my reflection as to like what's been going on. Some things that I thought about are that I can switch up what my workouts were looking like. So because I wasn't really weight training or anything like that, I was just pretty much hopping on the treadmill for 30 minutes and then stretching for 10 minutes. So I would just do the straight 30 minutes through. I think if I cut down that 30-minute time to 15 minutes, and then after that I can do 15 minutes of weight training because I need to just start building up my strength again regardless. I feel like that would just help me day to day when I'm carrying my daughter and just all the movements that you have to do when you have a child. It engages a lot of muscles to hold a baby, to put them down, to pick them up, to rock them to sleep. So I think this is more of a flexible, dynamic situation in which if she's crying, I can just take a break from any of my sets, come and soothe her, and then go back and do a quick workout. It's way more flexible than me hopping on and off of the treadmill because something about that, just I don't want to do that. So 15 minutes treadmill, 15 minutes weight training, that might be something to try. Also, I do think I can be more open-minded with what I consider working out. I think stretching sessions definitely count. So what I started doing already actually is I will lay my daughter on the floor, like on her blanket or on her cushion, and then I will go like over her and do yoga poses or do like little push-ups over her, and she loves it. She's laughing and I'm engaging in movement at the same time. So I've been doing more of that, and I think just shifting my mindset to considering that movement and considering that a way to achieve my fitness goals. So moving on to the next habit that I was hoping to engage in February, which was to scrapbook. This is also a habit in which I didn't do very well in. I had a goal of at least engaging in scrapbooking once a week, so the barrier was so low, and even then I was not very good at it. And one day I was just like, you know what, I'm going to just finish this scrapbook once and for all. It was a pregnancy scrapbook that I was working on, and I had printed out a bunch of pictures and I was organizing my scrapbook by my weeks of pregnancy. So I went ahead and just finished that. One night I sat down and I finished all of it. So it's pretty much done. I still have to work on a couple of details, like just annotate it and add like stickers or decorations and just make it more scrapbooky. Like right now it's very much just I pasted pictures, but I really wanted to be more complete with details, and once I do that I will be completely done with this project. Another goal that I had set out for myself is to read, and this is one of the only ones I feel like I actually exceeded in. I did so good for this. I read every single day almost. I actually finished 2 books in February, and I actually just finished another book this past weekend in March. I'm just experiencing such a reading kick. I joined a book club and it's been so fun, and it's been holding me accountable, and it's honestly helped me find my love for reading again. I used to love reading as a little girl. It has just been perfect because I breastfeed so much and I pump so much. So whenever I'm breastfeeding or I'm getting in a pumping session, I just pick up a book. So that is definitely something that I did achieve for the month of February. Another February goal that I had set was to stick to our budget, because if you watched my last video, you will see how January did not look so good. So I really wanted to stick to the budget. Specifically, I wanted to focus on our grocery shopping budget and just really try our best to stick to it. Quickly, I will just say that we went over our budget, but it wasn't by that much in comparison to the previous month. So if you watched my last video, you will know that in January we went over our grocery budget by about $254. This past month, February, we went over, but only by about $64. So significant difference. I will go more in detail over this when we review my February budget. But I quickly just wanted to mention that although we didn't stay under our budget, we definitely improved. So a win is a win. Okay, so that was a little bit of review slash reflection for my February goals. Before I talk about my March goals, I want to go ahead and first connect with my yearly goals. I do have a printout here of my husband's goals and my goals that we set for New Year's this year, January 2024. I mentioned in my last video how I like to not only connect with my monthly goals, but also connect with the goals that I set in the beginning of the year so that I'm not forgetting about them. They don't sit in the back burner, and I find a way to incorporate them into my monthly goals, because technically my monthly goals should be guided by my yearly goals, right? Like your yearly goals should be broken down into monthly goals. So I want to go ahead and just talk a little bit about that. Okay, so for my annual goals, I did post a very in-depth, more thorough video of my 2024 goals at the start of the year. So I will go ahead and link that down below just in case you're interested. But essentially what I like to do is just glance at them and see how I'm doing toward my achievement of these goals. A lot of these goals I'm already getting after during my month to month. So for example, for my personal goals, I have to cook more at home, and I'm already taking care of that by doing one no spend week every month. And I do document this and I post it on YouTube. So I will also go ahead and link down any no spend week videos that I've done in the past. This has really encouraged me to cook more at home because we spend less money that way. On here, I have to work out 3 times a week minimum. I have to engage in hobbies such as scrapbooking and creating photo albums. I have some savings goals. So these pretty much are broken down into my monthly goals. So I can see that at least for my personal goals, I'm doing good so far. I also have some financial goals that every time I do my monthly budget, I pretty much am ensuring that I contribute to these savings and investments goals. So for example, I have a goal of building out my emergency fund. I have a goal of maxing out my Roth IRA. I have certain savings buckets that I want to contribute to, and we have some household debt that we want to pay off. So again, all of those savings, investments, paying off debt goals, I do take care of monthly, and I talk about those things more during the financial review that we're about to have. Another goal of mine was to just sell more items that we have around the home, like post specific items on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp. So we've been pretty good about this. Every month we've sold different items. January we sold some shoes that my husband bought for like $70, and then we sold them for $150, I believe. So we made a profit on that. I also sold a desk that we've had since we were in college because we finally needed a new desk, and we will see what I sell for the month of March. And another goal was to have no spend weeks, and we are definitely doing our best. We've done our no spend week for January, and for February, we've done it for March as well. I don't know if that video will be up yet by the time that I post this, but if it is up, I will go ahead and link it down below. So that was financial goals. And then for professional goals, I have to be consistent with YouTube, which I feel like I have been. I have professional goals for my work from home situation, and then I have another professional goal of just constantly educating myself, whether it's through books or YouTube. That's a goal that I have not actually made much progress toward, so maybe this is something that I can start thinking about in the incoming months. As you can see, this is like a very quick glance that I do because a lot of these goals I'm already taking care of on a monthly basis, and if I'm not, then this is a moment in which I can identify that and then figure out how I can fit that into my future monthly goals. So just quickly wanted to breeze through that. Okay, so we've done our February goals review and reflection. We've also quickly connected with our yearly/annual goals. It is time to have a financial review for the month of February. Someone woke up, so I'm gonna try to continue the video until she gets too fussy. Let's see how far we get. For my financial reviews, I like to focus on my variable expenses just because these are the ones that I can actually do anything about. Like our mortgage is our mortgage, our car payment is our car payment. Bills typically fluctuate very like light and water gas, but not by much. So we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the variables expenses that we have. We're going to focus on our savings and investments goals. And as I've mentioned before, I'm only going to be focusing on my savings and investments goals just to protect my husband's privacy. Okay, I just breastfed her and put her down. I'm watching her, so let's see if she will stay calm. Let's start off by talking about my variable expenses for February. The first one that I want to talk about is our subscriptions. So we have a goal of spending no more than $101.94, and this is just based on the current subscriptions that we have. And we actually spent $128.38. So we spent $26.44 more than we should have. That's because my husband bought some streaming service to watch the Super Bowl, I believe. So hopefully by next month we don't have these extra charges. We did do way better in February with subscriptions than in January, because in January there were actually some that we forgot to cancel. Already an improvement. And let's talk about groceries. Groceries was the focus for February. I really wanted to not go over our budget by too much. Our goal was to not spend any more than $380, and we spent $444.33. So as mentioned earlier, we went over our budget by $64.33. However, we did way better than January. In January, we spent $633.82, which means we went over our budget by $253.82. So we can see how we improved significantly in February. The next category that we have is eating out / entertainment. And we knew that February was going to be a higher spend month in this category because of Valentine's Day. And then we also had family visiting. So we have a goal of $100, which I think is very unrealistic. And we spent $391.14. So we went over our budget by $291.14. For January, we did better in this category in the sense that we didn't spend as much. In January, we only went over by $90.11. Compared to this month, we went over budget by $291.14. And I also wanted to talk about this budget for eating out / entertainment, and it's only $100. I do think that's very low. That's so unrealistic for our lifestyle. After March, if we keep overshooting the budget, I will go ahead and take an average of January, February, and March, and then most likely set a higher budget amount for this category. So for the next reset video, we will talk about that a little bit more. The next category is transportation / car. So our goal for this category is to spend no more than $350, and we went over budget by a lot. We actually spent $547.25. So we went over budget by $197.25, which is crazy. We do have fast track, and there were some charges that did not have to be charged, so we should be getting a $130 reimbursement, which means that we only went over budget by about $60-ish. So we might see a change in this category soon, but until we get the reimbursement, I won't change this number. For January, we spent $260 for this category, so we only went over by $40. Okay, now I want to talk about the next category, which is household / hygiene. We have a budget of $45, which I also think is pretty low, but we actually didn't do that bad. We spent $59.14, which means we went over budget by only $14.14. January was way worse. We actually spent $155.32. So February, we are already seeing an improvement. That's why I'm comparing January, February, just so I can show you that like we did not as good in some categories, but for the majority of them, it seems like we're doing way better already for February. Then we have a gifts / self / miscellaneous category, and the budget for this category is $150 and we spent $64.37. So we were under budget by $85.63, which is good. We did really good. This is a category in which we heavily improved in. For January, in this particular category, we spent $477.04. So we went over budget by $327. We are doing way better here for February. And for medical, we typically allocate $50 per month. We didn't spend anything there. And then we do have a donations category, and I will not be talking about how much we donated. I definitely think that's something that's private. For February, we added an additional category that we didn't previously have, and this is for home furnishings, because I actually purchased a standing desk for the office, and I didn't really want to put this expense under household or hygiene because it didn't fit in that category. So we just decided that there are other furnishings that we want to buy around the house and home decor and things like that. We thought it would be best to create a category for this. What I spent on that desk was $224.90. For this, we don't really have a monthly budget yet because we don't anticipate spending just impulsively on these things. The desk was just something that I had to buy because the one that I previously had, I sold it on OfferUp, so I just didn't have a desk and I needed a desk, and that's why I bought it. This leads me into something else I want to talk about. I did create a wish list tab on my budgeting spreadsheet, and this is where my husband and I decided we are going to make a list of all of the things that we want to buy for the home or for ourselves or just like in general, so that rather than impulse buying, we can start creating a list of things that we want and save up for them down the line and just be more thoughtful about the items that we buy rather than just like instantly purchasing. We can have conversations about it, we can do research, and we can start gathering a list of these things so that we maybe start saving for them down the line rather than what we used to do, which is just purchase things on like ASAP. So those were all of my variable expenses. Moving on to my savings and investments goals. So first I want to talk about my Roth IRA. I had a goal of investing $200 and I ended up investing $700. So we're doing good on that. We also have a goal of building our emergency fund. The goal for February was to save $200 toward that. We actually allocated $533 to that. We do also save up money for taxes because just in case we have to pay taxes, and we do have to pay for the service of getting our taxes done. So the goal was to save $250 toward that. Come on. Watch mommy. And we ended up saving $250 toward that. And we also have a vacation fund. The goal for this is $100 per month. And we actually ended up saving $434 toward this savings bucket. And we did have some rollover money from last month from our income. So this money, we decided that we wanted to put it aside to start saving up for an extra mortgage payment at the end of the year. And to this, we ended up contributing $2,000. So we'll just keep that in our savings bucket and have it accumulate interest. And we will use that to pay at the end of the year just an extra mortgage payment. And I mentioned to you that we also created a new category of house furnishings. And to this, we don't really anticipate to contribute to it monthly, but because we did have some rollover money, we decided to just put in $333 into that savings bucket. It's a really big goal of ours to save and invest more for this particular year. In the past, we've done it, but never this intentionally. It just feels different this year. I'm sure it's because we have a baby now, so we're just trying to be extra responsible about it. So there you have it. That is my financial review for the month of February. I hope that you liked the month-to-month comparison. I thought it was useful to just compare it against January only because that's the way to see improvement, is to compare it to something else. For the month of March, our budget is going to stay the same just because I want to see what our spending looks like, and if we keep overshooting our budget, then I will consider increasing some of our categories. So for example, if for eating out, we keep going over the $100 mark, which we have for both January and February. If in March we overshoot it again, I will just take the average of January, February, and March, and whatever that number is, I will use something close to that number to set it as the new budget goal for April. Okay, so now I want to talk about my March goals because I'm running out of time. I just fed baby girl, so she is not hungry, but she just wants to be around me all the time. Like once I brought her close to me, she stopped being so fussy, and I'm kind of flattered. You just want to be looking at mommy, don't you? For March, I don't really want to set new goals. I want to change my approach to achieving those goals, but I honestly am very happy with the goals that I have set. I think she wanted me to hold her. You want to say something? What do you want to say? What do you want to say? You want to finish off my video for me? So, like I said, I really don't want to set too many goals. I don't want to overexert myself. I want to just keep trying my best to achieve the goals that I had previously set. So, with my daily devotionals, we're going to continue that, listening to Bible in a Year podcast. As I mentioned earlier, I just need to get better at incorporating this into my morning routine. So, we're going to try our best to do that this month again. For my fitness goal, since little girl just wants to be with mommy, as you can tell, I am going to do what I said earlier, which is to do 15 minutes of cardio followed by 15 minutes of weight training, and just really try to stretch at home when I'm playing with her and just be more creative with how I'm getting my little workouts in and my movement sessions in. Okay, the next goal that I have is scrapbooking. For scrapbooking, I'm pretty much done with my pregnancy scrapbook. I just want to finish some details. That will be the goal for March, is to finish off my pregnancy scrapbook, finish off the little details so that I can start printing out pictures from when she was born up till now. She's 4 months tomorrow at the time of filming this clip. So I really just wanted to have a pregnancy scrapbook, and then after that just print a bunch of pictures of her as a newborn and create little photo albums. And reading, I have just been doing so great with my reading goal. I want to continue that. I want to read every day, and so far that has not been a problem. I just finished the book Alone with You in the Ether. That book was so good, so beautifully written. And I'm currently reading The Conscious Parent. And after this one, we'll see what we get into. And finally, I want to continue sticking to my budget. In February, I really focused on sticking to our grocery budget, and it really helped to keep eyes on it. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to continue putting an emphasis on our groceries so that we aren't overspending, just to make sure that we're using up all our food and not wasting anything, and just getting really creative with meals at home. And honestly, I've been loving to cook for my family and to cook with my husband. I just want to continue that energy. So there you have it. Those are my March goals, and we already are into the month of March, which is why I just wanted to check in. I don't really want to go into any March expenses yet. I'll save that for next month's video. Thank you for bearing with me if you've watched up to here. This is just the reality of motherhood, and I'm here for it. I'm honestly just going to keep trying to be consistent with YouTube and adapt YouTube to my current lifestyle. And this is my current lifestyle. We have a baby that wants to be with mama. Yes, we do. With all that being said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you did like the video. I'm gonna go breastfeed now. Go watch some of my other videos until I post the next one. Bye. Say bye. Okay, bye.